Welcome to another episode of Pugging with Shintar. Once again, we're skipping the group finding stage because I wasn't sure I would get a group, so I was sort of holding off until I got an invite just now. You can see it here. Let's go! Or something. This episode has been really long in the making. Okay, there we go. What was I saying? This episode has been really long in the making because I've been struggling to get a group for this. Or rather, I've been struggling to find a good time to look for a group for this. Because Conquest has kept me very busy with my guild. And mostly when this would have been relevant for Pugs, when it's in the group finder or for Conquest, I just didn't have the time. This past week, I was like, this week I'm gonna do it. Because I had the week off. I was like, I must find the time to record this episode. Of course, then Sod's Law happened, and the one day when it was in the group finder happened to be today, when I was actually out all day. But I came back, checked general chat on the fleet just to be sure, and boom! Among a lot of nonsense about American politics, we're on a European server. I don't know why people are talking about that. Probably just to troll. Anyway, among all this nonsense, I found looking for more, and I was like, yeah, invite me, and I was in fact the last person to join the group, so here we go. I haven't even had a chance to see what's happening. Is this like a partial pre-made? Looks like it. There are several people from Wardens of the Republic, just as well. I have accepted that even though it's not the same as a full Pug experience when you have a partial pre-made, that's just how a lot of pugging happens, that basically a couple of people from a guild get together, start a group, and then invite randoms to fill the last few spots. Okay, so our tanks are apparently Kunri the Guardian. I assume Zavrol the Guardian? Yeah, nobody else could be tanking except maybe Khazira the Vanguard. No, gotta be them too.
Intruders have reached the gatekeeper. All forces on alert.
We are in the Dread Fortress. If you recall, in the last episode, in between waiting for a Q-pop, I did the storyline on Holocron, which is the prerequisite to get the story quest to do Dread Fortress, so I've got all that sorted out.
She will collect her toll in blood.
Oops! I shouldn't have this circle. That's for a tank.
Fear you, only us.
Send in reinforcements.
So yeah, the Dread Fortress is the first operation that you don't get to from the fleet, as the entrance is located on the planet, on Holocron.
All creatures can serve.
And it's actually pretty cool the way you get there, because it's literally this big fortress at the end of the map.
Pray. Fear can drive both.
Which of course we missed here because we used the group finder, so we were all just teleported here. Now the story so far is that the Dreadmasters, who have a really long history in the early game, have gone mad and basically want to kill everyone on the planet Holocron. Throughout the solo story quest, you prevent them from killing everyone. But then you still have to go into the operation to actually stop them for good. So here we're in the fortress, which is the first part. There's still the palace as well, so the Dreadmasters are actually spread out over 2 operations. Here we are killing Nephra, the Gate Guardian, who is a giant underwalkers, I think what the species is called. There's loads of them on Macab. Who is an extremely easy boss. I mean, even on higher difficulties. She might possibly be the easiest boss to do on Master Mode in any operation. As she literally just stands there, and even on Master Mode you just need to have the tank stand in the right place and deal with this debuff that she puts out every now and then, because on Master Mode it hurts more than on Story Mode. But that's pretty much all there is to it. She was also notoriously bugged at one point. Because the idea is, in this environment there are places where you could go where she can't hit you. And the idea is, if she can't hit anyone, she does a sort of roar that kills everyone. But she didn't always used to do that. So people would find the spot where she couldn't kill them and just very, very, very slowly kill her with just 2 people or something. And then take all the absolute. Which was very silly. I'm glad when they fixed that exploit. I wasn't super optimistic that I would still get a group today. As I said in a previous episode, Dread Fortress is not unpopular with pugs because it's fairly quick. But it is also late, 10. But then I saw several people just looking for group, but I didn't feel like building a group from scratch myself. I saw a request go out for some people for just the last boss run, so they already had a lockout for just the last boss. I didn't want to do that either, because obviously I want to show the whole operation in this series. But it gave me hope that, you know, people were active, there was still stuff going on despite of the time of day. Someone is saying, this is my favorite ops. Well, there you go, you see people like it. And here we are. Personally, this isn't one of my favorite ops for the simple reason that I find it a bit depressing, I guess. which makes sense considering the bosses are the Dreadmasters. I guess BioWare just did a really good job at actually making them scary and all that. And I guess I also find them a bit, both this one and Dread Palace, a bit boring in the sense, how to best explain it. I mean, I've praised a lot of the previous operations for having a sort of story flow to them. Like I said that in Scum and Villainy, for example, that it's like going through a story. And even the ones that aren't that creative with story, like Eternity Vault or Terror from Beyond, are just very creative with the assets and the environments, and it feels like a great place to explore.
The masters demand it.
And I feel Dread Fortress and Dread Palace are not that. They are sort of a very classic dungeon crawl in the sense of, here is a big cave or dungeon and there are bad guys in it. Kill them. Without much else to it. And I guess that's one reason I'm not too fond of it. But I don't dislike it either. It's got some fun fights, and there is something to be said for an operation that you can do quite quickly.
No matter the cost.
If you just need, you know, an operation, for example, for a weekly quest or something. Now this boss, Gatemaster Draxus, this is probably my least favorite boss in this operation, because it's basically all about ads. The boss himself, he's just there every so often, and jumps up in the air, disappears, and you have ads spawning left and right and center, and it's basically all about prioritizing the ad killing correctly. Because there are some that will put a massive AoE dot on everyone. Later there are some that knock people around, so there's a lot to do, and really the key to it all is to get your DPS organized so they interrupt the right things, kill the right things, and well, I dislike it because I am not a DPS, and basically I have a lot of memories of just wiping to this fight without even knowing what was going wrong. We would just be fighting, and then suddenly everyone would have an AoE on them, and we would die, or an ad would run rampant and die. We would die, and to me it wasn't clear like what went wrong, like who was supposed to kill that ad, what went wrong. It's just a bit. It was a bit annoying because it makes you feel very powerless. Like we're wiping to this, and I can't do anything to help because I don't even know what's happening. On story mode, fortunately, it's not quite that bad. There isn't really much here that will wipe you anymore. Oh. What was fun about this boss was the puzzle, which you pretty much skipped. As you could see, we sort of just ran through here, killed this mini boss here, and that was it. But the original design was that you needed the group to split before the boss, and like half go through this west gate and so half through the east gate, and click on various crystals to open gates in a certain order so everyone could get through. And that was kind of cool. I mean, I like the whole splitting the group thing, the puzzle aspect, but it could also be a bit annoying because people wouldn't understand what to do, and obviously you needed everyone to do their part, and you could waste so much time even just trying to get to the boss with people not opening gates correctly, and I guess I understand why they took that out. Woo! Sorry, that was a mass affliction nearly going through. Oh, there is, in fact, now one did go through. Oh well, that's just... Fortunately on story mode it doesn't hurt so much, so should be able to heal through it. Yeah, in story mode you don't need to solve this puzzle anymore, you can just run through. It's only in hard mode, and even there people have found ways to cheese things a bit, in the sense that it's generally enough to have 4 people go through on one side and the others can just wait. And those 4 will be able to open the gates between them. Wow, I'm sorry if I sound funny. I think my voice is a bit rough. Plus just now I nearly had a hiccup. Must be really hard being a professional streamer and not hiccuping on stream or burping on screen or stream. At least if you record stuff and edit it later, you can cut some of the worst of it out.
Masters, forgive me.
Okay, that was Draxus. As usual, I'm just greeting or passing on everything, because I'm not here for the loot. My command boost is on, but only for 7 more minutes. Mustn't forget to reapply it after the next boss, probably. Anyway, now this next piece of trash used to be really funny. It used to be the best. Because there are droids that when they get low on health, they suddenly become immune to damage for a few seconds until they explode. And this explosion used to gloriously take people with it. So you could have fun by getting them low and then pushing them into your guildies and getting them blown up, and it was great fun. But again, I guess maybe this was abused in Pugs. So I don't know, that's my best guess anyway. So BioWare nerfed it so that the explosion does nothing much of anything anymore, which is a shame. But at least you can still blow up guildies on the harder difficulties. I think they also made it so you can't actually push them anymore when they are in the process of blowing up, and trying to push them will just cause them to detonate on the spot. Though I'm not 100% sure about that. Next we have the Pirate Rancor! Oh, someone else gathered the droid already. Oh well. Pirate Rancor, grob'thok with his peg leg, and a cybernetic eye. There is this lift going around the room, and the tactic here is every now and then he does an ability called Pipe Smash, which hurts a lot and knocks everyone about. And to make it stop, you need to pull him to this lift, so his pipe gets caught on this magnet and he has to stop. As someone says here, don't get into the magnet, because if a person gets under the magnet, they get pulled into the air and disabled for a few seconds, which is actually pretty funny there on story mode, though on master mode it actually also kills you. Deadly magnet.
Fear can unite all things.
But yeah, this is sort of in line with what I said about this place just being a dungeon with random bosses. I mean, okay, Dreadmaster Pontus, who is the last boss, does have a thing for cybernetics, I guess. But still, it's a bit random that she has like this monster as the gate guard, then an actual human gate guard, then the cybernetic rancor, then the droid. Okay. Oop, I have fire. I must drop fire. But not on one spot.
See what is possible.
See, is pulling him to the magnet already. Oh. Is it too early? He didn't actually start smashing. Don't know if on story mode that will prevent him from smashing now.
Fear can unite all things.
It's kind of funny to me how ignorant I am about story mode mechanics these days. It's because I mean I do run story modes with my guildies as well, but we spend much more time on hard and nightmare modes. So often when we go into a story mode, we're like, is this mechanic there on story mode? And we expect stuff to happen that doesn't actually happen.
We do not improve.
I used to make fun of people like that, but now I've become one of them. Oh, here comes the pipe smash.
You don't yet know the danger that you face.
Yeah, he's caught in the air.
improve, we complete. Our creations are legion.
This is all going very smoothly. I mean, they seem to be paying good attention to tactics, and the Pug tank Zabrol said earlier that this was his first time or something, but they just said, yeah, our tank and Zabrol will sort it all out, and there doesn't seem to be any confusion about what to do, so that's good.
Fears await you.
Oh, let's hit the great buff. Keep forgetting that I have these.
You have much to learn.
1 minute left on my buff. Is the boss gonna die before the buff runs out? Woo! Someone's standing in fire. 15 stacks! Yow! 16 stacks. Woohoo!
Our creations are legion. Each half does what the other cannot.
I also just did this on... Oops.
Entirely new fears await.
I was a bit slacking with the healing there, I guess. But he seemed to die fast. I'll have to watch the replay of that. Maybe he's still in fire. Anyway, what was I saying? Yes, I just did this on hard mode yesterday. It's DPS actually.
Fear can unite all things.
Ah, fire on me again.
There are more. So many more.
Didn't see when my buff ran out. Let's get a new one. At least there is not a lot of trash between bosses, which is part of what makes this up so quick. I mean, there's literally, what, one pull between the third and fourth boss? Just goes very quick. Now this fourth boss is Corruptor Zero, a droid with helper droids and mines and stuff.
All units, prepare to initiate carnage! This is the end of the line. The end of your lives.
Nobody's even talking tactics, I guess. It was 6 people from the same guild. Is it 6? 1, 2, 3, 4. With 5 people from the same guild. They seem to be pretty certain in what they're doing. Anyway, the fun part about this guy...
You're about to witness true agony. Fear my army.
Droid Army General. Is he actually a full droid, or is he supposed to be more like General Grievous, a sort of hybrid? I don't know why I'm suddenly asking myself this question after not asking it for 5 years. But now I'm wondering, is he a droid or some sort of hybrid cyborg thing as well? Anyway, the fun mechanic with him is that towards the end of the fight he jumps into the air and does a giant beam of death that you have to avoid. But again, they nerfed it on story mode, so it's not even a proper beam of death, it just tickles a little. But I'm like, okay, story mode is supposed to be super puggable, I guess, so...
You are not allowed to win. Auxiliary systems online. You will not win. You are not allowed to win. All units, annihilate. You have every right to be terrified. My masters love to
Okay, I now keep looking at him and I'm like, does this look like a droid, or does he look like he has organic parts? Now that question is really bugging me. There you go. Even after 5 years, I can still ask myself new questions, because that's how long this operation has been out. It's weird to think, because this is the 5th of 9 operations that are currently in the game. It's not counting event bosses and single bosses, and even that is 5 years old, because we went ages and ages without any new ops. So they were very front-loaded, with 8 of them coming out in the first 4 years, and then nothing for a long time.
Auxiliary systems online. My masters love to hear your screams.
Come on, jump into the air already.
You have every right to be terrified. I will disassemble the
There we go. He leaps, and he lands there, and he does this beam like here. Pug tank is even running in, and you can see it took off less than half his health, even though he got beamed. So I think I'd rather not stand in it if I can avoid it. Let's see how many people get beamed this time. Again.
Engaging offensive weapons
Oh, a
level.
newbie tank.
Omega.
Some people really like standing in deadly
My
beams,
masters love to hear your screams.
but I guess they aren't really deadly, so... Okay, that was odd. He's supposed to shoot that
You have every
along
right
this
to
path,
be
not
terrified.
out the wall, but okay. Nearly done. Yeah, I've been going for like less than half an hour, and we are on 4 out of 5, and the 5th boss is just around the corner. So this might well be... This is one of the fastest orbs. Probably after EV, assuming you skip most of EV's trash between the first and second boss. Otherwise it probably takes longer than this.
Masters will see you pay for this affront.
Not sure how Carragher's Palace compares. It does have a fair amount of trash, even though it's not very hard. I think everything else is definitely longer.
Yes. Come closer. Closer.
Right, we are about to face one of the Dreadmasters. It's kind of interesting that they decided to they had these 5 Dreadmasters, so they gave one of them an operation all to herself, and the other 4 in the second one. I don't really know what the logic was behind of that, because if you're gonna make 2 operations, why not split them a bit more evenly? Not that I mind, it's just a bit random, I guess. As a fun fact, Dreadmaster Pontus is one of the few bosses that to this day I have never killed in Master Mode. Back when it was possible to overlevel operations, we got very close to killing her, and then 4.0 came in and made all the operations equal. I mean, obviously not 100% equal, but you know what I mean. They all became relevant endgame content. And then we didn't even try it again because everyone kept saying that the new tuning made her harder than ever, and oh, hardest boss by far, don't even bother until you've killed all the others or something like that. So since then we haven't even really been back. Would be interesting to see one of these days, I guess, just how hard she really is. I mean, obviously she is hard considering that we kept failing at the fight even when we were 5 levels higher than it. But then again, this was several years ago by now, and I kind of feel that after years and years of doing the same operations over and over, me and my guildies have become a little bit better at the fights. I would hope so, at least. Pontus has a bit of a tentacle fetish. She has all these cybernetic tentacles on her back, so she's basically like Dr. Octopus from Spider-Man. And apparently all her tentacles also burrow through the ground and then come out to smack us. Not sure how exactly that works. But it looks cool, so sure, why not? Here's a little cutscene. Very little.
A fascinating collection. Let's see what we can make of you, shall we?
Left, right in the frame. Okay, where am I? I am right, so... Yes, this is relevant for where to stand in a later phase. So this is a fight with a lot of distinctive phases. Well, a lot. I can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 phases, I think. Yeah, if you count the first one as a phase too, then yeah. Ranges to the healer. It's good luck. Okay. So I do have to say, regardless of difficulty, I do find this a very interesting fight. Obviously on harder difficulties it has some extra bits tacked on top of everything, but even on story mode it's an interesting fight. I mean, you start with just fighting these tentacles. It's fairly straightforward. You have the little adds here called fingers and the bigger ones called hands. And the general idea is that the hands should go down at the same speed, because on hard mode the tanks need to swap between them, because they get like the one tanking the right one gets a debuff, so he can't tank the right one anymore, needs to switch to the left one, and so on. There's some yelling here that people are not targeting the right ads, so you can see it's very out of sync here already, but it doesn't really matter on story mode. Except insofar as our Pug tank seems to be a bit confused about what to do when we're getting smacked. Of course, the good old rule applies that you best turn enemies away from the rest of the group, because they might cleave, and these do. Looks like we burned down the right one entirely, and I'm only now working on the left. Yep. Okay, so that's phase 1. When they hit, when the hands hit, I think it's 50% or 40%, we have a brief interlude phase.
Flesh is insufficient. You must
Yep, where little reaches appear and shoot lightning. Yep, and that kills you even still in story mode, as you could just observe from little Pug tank. Woo! Wow, that was close for me.
You can become so much more.
And the next phase. The boss has to be turned away from the group because she does lightning cone, and it's the return of Cantus. He's only called corrupted clone, but we all know it's Cantus. Basically, Cantus returns yet again for the second time after we beat him in explosive conflict. Then we beat his undying mutated form again in Terror from Beyond. Apparently the Dreadmasters found him so entertaining they tried to clone him and have some more Cantuses, which keep appearing here. And again, they just need to be turned away from the group, because otherwise they AoE everyone. On hard mode and onwards, you have a very interesting mechanic here as well, with little orbs appearing that explode for a lot of damage. But to not have people die, you need a marked person to take them. Fortunately, that's not here. Okay, so another little interlude phase. The boss summons ads and does a little beam of death around the room. And what happens here is basically, if you do not kill these droid ads before the beam reaches them, they explode! On story mode, I don't think that's a wipe anymore, but it still does a lot of damage and throws you around, so you have to kill them before the beam reaches them. Right, now comes the next phase, which was people were referring to with do like the ops frames, where people need to spread out. Ah! I should not be tanking this. Oh good. People need to spread out and stand on these fingers. What is our tank doing? It's just all over the place. Okay. This is actually a good time to use the damage reduction cooldown. So there's a lot going on. Right, so yeah. Ooh, people need to stand on these little fingers, kill them, then kill the hands. Woo! Avoid this, because if you have the hands slamming people, people take a lot of damage. Woo! Everywhere. Somehow we are alive though. Yay! Bit messy, but we made it.
I am
Okay.
impressed.
Last phase. The boss goes in a bubble and powers up.
Witness the potential.
And in the last phase, basically, she just smacks people around with a very powerful
Share
knockback.
your true strength.
And you've got to nuke her before it all becomes too much, because you also take increasing damage from her as time goes by. And there's these purple circles you want to avoid standing in. Oops, there she goes on me. Meow. And you want to stack near the wall because that way you don't get too far knocked back. Otherwise, you see, like she can knock you around half the area, and if she does that and then moves after you, it's a bit hard to damage her if she just zooms all across the map and out of range of people. 2%. There we go. Huzzah!
Quite much, but not all.
This is pretty cool. Like,
You find the rest.
it's a bit unclear what's going on here. Do they like
This is not
suck her
the end
ghost
of
into this
your
holocron?
trials.
Something like that, I think. Because these are the other Dreadmasters. They appear and then whoop, disappear. They did the same thing at the end of Scum to Dreadmaster what's his face? Styrek. Don't remember if you could see that in my video about it, but yeah, so they sucked that Dreadmaster's ghost into a holocron. That's because we're not quite done yet with them. Oops, I should just do my rolling. Think so. Great. Okay, so that's this part of the story quest completed, so I'll just leave here, and in fact I will go hand that in right now, because it will give me a new mount, a Strike Force Tauntaun mount. So yeah, the story quest is updated after doing the fortress. It says enter the Dread Palace Hypergate, which is... hang on, I'm a bit... is this... is that this? Or am I already on the... it looks like I'm already on the upper floor. It's confusing. Yes, this is where I should be, Dread Palace. No, Dread Fortress, so you see, it's really the end, this giant building here, which we enter. We just finished the instance here, and then we go through here, as the quest tells me to. Yeah, now it updates, and then I am at the palace itself.
Lost the comm for a while, but I think we caught the highlights.
We took out the military installation, but there's an inner palace that's sealed tight. How are we stocked to cut through?
Fear!
Our forces are lessened, but our union remains.
We will corrupt all that is. You will be first. You will quake, writhing on the ground like a blooded newborn.
You'll remember every childhood knot of anxiety. What if you're lost in a dark place? What if a stranger finds you?
You will feel failure and humiliation. You will see your lovers burn, betray you and laugh. Because you are unworthy.
Enough. The palace is open. Come.
Nice, aren't they?
That's your invite. Make them regret it.
There you can see the whole fortress, palace, complex. It's quite impressive. Boom, there's my Tauntaun mount. And now the quest is updated to do the palace as well. And that's gonna be my next operation. Though, before I do another operation video, it's gonna be time for more uprisings. Namely for some more veteran mode uprisings. I say some more. Have I done any of them? I don't think I have yet. Just shows that it's been too long since I even did an episode. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this quick trip through the Dread Fortress. It was really fast, but it is a quick operation. And we'll see you next time.